Alright, so now we continue what's called attribution errors or attribution distortions. And here is what we call the fundamental attribution error. And the fundamental attribution error is that when we make judgments about others, okay, we usually underestimate the external factors and overestimate the internal factors. For example, we just said about the rain. The fundamental error will be committed when I'm thinking, oh, they're lazy not coming because they don't come to class. Instead, there is a real reason, and the real reason is it's raining. So if it's raining, not coming to class, right? Well, right now it's actually sunny outside, okay? So they don't have an excuse, right? If they're not in class, they must be lazy, right? Right? It's sunny. It's nice weather outside now, okay? No bad. So that's the attribution error that we commonly make is if something's a little wrong, we think it's their problem and it's not some external problem, okay? Not some outside problem, but it's a problem for them, okay? For example, when we say, oh, you got this thing with the teeth, it is your fault. You are eating junk food for breakfast, okay? But in reality, it's the system. There is nothing else you can buy from 7-Eleven. Everything you buy from 7-Eleven is junk, okay? Everything you buy from 7-Eleven is going to make you fat. Everything you buy from 7-Eleven is not good for you. It's not healthy. So, the problem is partially the food system, the way it is designed, and not really your fault, okay? Exactly the same, it's actually way, way, way worse in the United States, where most Americans are really fat. I mean, really, really fat. If you just watch, well, on movies you can't see because sometimes Hollywood, gets rid of the fat people, okay? They all have nice, beautiful, good-looking people. But most Americans are really, really fat. And here's the key. When you read everywhere in the books, and when you ask foreigners about Americans being fat, all Europeans say, oh, Americans are lazy. They're fat asses. They're just lazy people. And they'll just eat like pigs, okay? Well, that's what they think. Well, what do you think about Americans, all of them being fat, really fat? Well, the answer is very different. It's actually, most of the time, not their fault. Most of the food they get has way, way, way too much sugar in it. And sugar makes you eat more. It makes you fat, okay? And also makes you sick, suffer from diabetes, okay? And got what's called metabolic syndrome, okay? So, sugar makes you eat more and more and more. The more sugar they put, the more you eat and the more you drink, okay? Now, Americans now are not any more thirsty than they were 30, 50, and 70 years ago. Back in the old days, a Coca-Cola will be 6 ounces, very, very tiny little bottle, okay? Then it will grow to 8 ounces, to 9 ounces, standard 12 ounces. And then you get the big size drinks of 20 ounces. Oh, well, 20 ounces is not a big drink anymore, okay? You gotta get the 40 ounce. Now they have these huge 64 ounce, like way over a liter, like half a gallon drink, okay? Well, here's the key. The problem is not that they are thirstier, okay? The problem is that the food industry puts so much sugar in it, and it's so sugary that it makes you drink. And there are two things. It doesn't satisfy your thirst. You keep drinking and you're still thirsty, okay? It is how the food industry designs the drink to make you drink more, okay? But you think of that way. Same thing applies for all of these chips and for all of these Cheerios or for all of these popcorns and for all of these other things. They are designed in such a way that you're going to eat a big, big pile of them. And they're designed in a way that when you start, you just keep eating all the way until you finish, okay? Well, all of this health explanation is about the fundamental attribution error. You would think that these guys are fat and lazy and they don't have a self-control. But the problem is not really always exactly their fault. It's most of the food, almost all of the food you get, it's a completely external factor, okay? It's not that they're bad people. It's actually the industry. The food industry is focused on profit, how to make more money from them, okay? So you got profit making makes the food industry evil. They make the industry want to hurt people, hurt their health. And then they got this profit industry of health, where the health industry trying to make a big profit. And when people are sick, the health industry is great. They're making profits too, okay? They don't want to cure people. They don't want to see people healthy, okay? So they don't get good information. They don't get proper information, okay? You go to your doctor, you think your doctor wants to help you, but no, they don't want to really help you. If they help you, if you're healthy, they don't make money from you. They make money from your sickness. They want you to be sick, okay? And they want you to come for the next exam. And that's how they make a living, okay? So, we make this very common mistake where we say, oh, it's their fault, okay? Like for us foreigners, teachers, we sometimes think that you as students are lazy because your English no good. Well, what about our Thai language? When we get to learn Thai, we say, oh, man, it's really, really, really difficult. It's hard to learn, okay? So, it's got to be the same for you. Probably, it's not that you're lazy, it's just English is too damn hard for a Thai person. But it's a lot easier for a European, okay? So for me, very easy to learn French or German, but try studying Chinese, oh man, or we did study Thai language, man, way too difficult, way too confusing, okay? Way too different to learn, okay? And when we try to say something in Thai, nobody can understand. Like me, asking you something, I can't understand what you say, right? We're talking about papaya or papaya, right? And one translating to the other. So that's what I'm trying to say is, for us it's very easy to say, oh yeah, it's just your fault. But a lot of times it's not really always your fault, okay? It's somehow the system, or it's sometimes the reality. All right, so which are some of the biases? Another one is called the self-serving bias. And the self-serving bias is the following. If I am very good and very successful, it's got to be me because I'm really good at it, right? You got A, right? You're an A student, and if you're an A student, it's got to be because you're a very smart girl, right? But if it's for some reason, if a student fails, it's not his fault. He says, oh, no, it wasn't it was a professor. He was a bastard, all right? He was a bad guy. Or he gave a bad exam. The exam was no good, right? So, if you get A, that's because you're smart and hardworking. But if you get a bad grade, it's not your fault. It's not that you were lazy. You say, oh, it was the professor's fault, okay? Or, oh, I got in accounting a bad grade because it was raining every morning we had an accounting class, okay? So, people usually for their failure blame others and the circumstances, but for their success, they always say, oh, I'm great, I'm good, I'm smart, okay? I'm so successful. Okay? And that's a very common mistake. We call this the self-serving bias. Okay? Very common self-serving biases during a booming economy. Okay? When everyone's making money, they make money and they think they're good businessmen. Okay? They think they're good entrepreneurs. Okay? Well, everybody else's money is making money and the economy is good. Well, you never measure how much money you make during the economy, during a good economy. You always measure when the economy is bad. And when everyone's losing money, you're good when you make money and your business is doing well when the others' businesses are not doing well. That's where you really measure how good you are, okay? And that's the common mistake. They just think that they're geniuses. Same thing is about investing. In investing, when you got a bull market and the market keeps going up and going up, you could be dumb. You could be very dumb. And you got a lot of dumb investors who invest and just make money. Well, it's the same thing here today with real estate. A lot of people here in Thailand think they're geniuses because they're buying real estate, they're investing in real estate, and real estate goes up, okay? And they think they're very, very, very smart. Well, wait until real estate crashes, and it will, because it crashes always, and it crashes everywhere. It crashes and it crashed in Russia, it crashed in Japan, well, a long time ago, it crashed in the US, in all of Western Europe, it crashed in Spain, in Italy, in Greece, in my home country, Bulgaria, it totally crashed in Cyprus, it crashed practically everywhere in the world. Did it crash in Finland? Yes or no? Yes, of course, it crashed in Finland and practically everywhere in the world. Well, not yet in China, and not yet in Thailand, but it will for sure crash in China and will come in. But the point is, when the market goes up, they think they're so smart. They think they're geniuses. They think they've done the best thing ever in their life. But later on, when it crashes, they get to realize, oh, I made a big, big, big mistake. So, if things work out great, they think they're smart. But if it's not great, it's the bad bankers or somebody else, okay? It's always someone else's fault for my failure. For my success, I'm the smart guy. Okay? That happens every time. It happens for all humans. Black, white, Asian, Caucasian, all the people are like that and like to think like that. Okay? A lot of times people will, say one thing, but they'll hear another. In other words, someone's going to try to make a message, like I'm trying to, tell those kids in accounting, you gotta come to class. You gotta do the homework. There is no other way. I don't know of any other. You gotta do the exercises, okay? In accounting, that's the only way, I would think, okay? But they hear a completely different story, or they don't hear anything, okay? So, that's one type. Another one is people, and I've been explaining everything, they always overestimate the influence of their personal factors. So they succeed, it's me. Another one is they attribute success, that's the same thing, to, again, internal factors. And they attribute failure to external factors. Well, it's been raining too much, so I couldn't go to class, that's why I failed in accounting. Or, accounting really hard. Accounting's so difficult, okay? Well, it's so difficult, we got only 5 people who pass out of 50, right? So it has to be difficult, right? Well, if it's difficult, not my fault. It just says, Dad, everybody failed in accounting. I mean, the professor was so bad, right? It's always like that. So, what are the typical perceptual shortcuts that we make? In other words, when we perceive things, sometimes we do special shortcuts. In other words, we try to make it quick, okay? So, selectivities is like we try to speed read others. We try to read them as fast as possible. And we humans like to do that. We are wired to judge a situation as fast as possible for survival reasons. If you see something new or different, you immediately have to judge if it's a danger or not. If it's a danger, you gotta run, okay? For example, you're in a traffic light and your light turns green. If it turns green and you see a car moving, you must judge if this guy is going to run the red light and hit you because he is with a truck and you're with a motorcycle. You must make the judgment within a second. If it takes more than 1 or 2 seconds, you're going to be dead. Okay? Or if it's an animal, a lion, you're going to be eaten alive. So, we are hardwired to make judgments fast, very fast, okay? Sometimes within seconds or minutes. If you try to eat food back in the old days, not 7-Eleven, you quickly, when you try the food, got to decide if it's a good food or bad food or poisonous, okay? You can't eat it, you can't get poisoned, and then decide, oh, the food was no good. So, we are biologically, mentally wired to decide about things very quickly. And that's the selectivity bias, okay? And part of the selectivity bias is we try to make a fast, a very quick judgment on others. We usually make it within seconds. Oh, they don't come to class, they're lazy. Very easy, very quick judgment, okay? But it's a lot of times not true, okay? A lot of times it's not true, all right? But in nature, the mistake is that you got a real danger to underestimate the risk. If you underestimate the risk, you're dead. The lion's gonna eat you, okay? So, nature has designed for us to be quick, even if we make mistakes, okay? Even if it's not a danger, you better act as if it's a danger. You better be cautious about it, okay? Even if the truck is going to stop, you'd better wait to make sure that the truck is stopped, okay? You don't want to go through and find out that the truck doesn't stop and hit you, okay? So, that's part of doing things fast and doing things quickly. Another one is assumed similarity. For us Europeans, we like to assume that you are like us. And we like to judge you like we will judge other Europeans, okay? And we try to judge you in the same way. Well, that's oftentimes false because of cultural reasons, because you're fundamentally or mentally, meaning culturally different, your thinking is different, your motivation is different, your goals are different, your values are different, okay? So, in that basic mistake that people do is judging others the way you judge, other people the way you judge yourself, or you assume or thinking that they are just like you. For example, I went to the university to learn, and I wanted to learn, okay? And I did, when I was in the university, I did learning. And I think that if you come to the university, you come to learn too. Well, that's probably wrong. Probably many of you are not here to learn. Well, not in the classroom, in the university. Maybe they're here just to have fun and to enjoy themselves. I mean, it's a good life, right? Many are here just to please your parents. I mean, you're not really here to. I mean, your parents want you to go to school, so you just go to school to make the parents happy, okay? And making the parents happy is legitimate for a son or good son will try to make the parents happy. And if the parents wanted to go to university, you just go to university. But you go to university not to learn, you just go to university to make parents happy, okay? And have a good time, all right? In some other cultures, a lot of girls go to university so they can meet a smart, rich guy and to marry him, okay? So the girls didn't really go to study. I mean, you don't go to university to study. You go to university to find a good husband, okay? It's a good way to socialize, okay? So, but some of us think that they're like us and they really come to, and we judge them as bad people because we think they want to do what we want to do, but it's not really true, okay? I mean, people have other reasons, other motivations, okay? You just want to make happy your parents, and your parents are happy, so everything's okay. And whether you did okay on accounting or didn't do, doesn't really matter that much. What matters is you make your parents happy. That's why you came here, and the goal is accomplished. And whether accounting you make D or E or C, doesn't matter, okay? If you fail, you gotta take it again, no big deal. So, that's assumed similarity. Most common one is stereotyping. And I just gave you one example of stereotyping is, oh, Americans are fat and lazy. And it's their problem that they're fat and lazy, okay? Instead of their food industry feeding them bad stuff, okay? Or, let's say, Monsanto feeding them genetically modified foods, genetically engineered foods. And genetically engineered foods cause a whole bunch of diseases, okay? But people are not taught about it. They don't understand it, okay? And it's not labeled, okay? But we stereotype them, okay? So stereotyping, you judge them on the basis of a perception of a group. The case in this case, the example in this case is Americans are fat, okay? Or they're just too hungry for money, okay? They just want money, all right? That money is the most important thing for them. So, you see somebody, you immediately think, okay? I mean, you probably have the same thing, stereotyping. Example here is local ties stereotype foreigners as having a lot of money, all right? All you see in him is the customer. Oh, he's got money, and the stereotyping is a walking ATM. Oh, this is a guy that can just milk from some money, okay? You can get some money from him, whether it's food or whatever else it might be, okay? Again, that's common type stereotyping, okay? And there's a halo effect. And the halo effect is that People, when they meet other people, they have a first impression. And the first impression is too strong, and whatever their impression is and whatever their opinion is, they don't change it. They hold their opinion. They keep their opinion. So, you have some good opinion about somebody, okay, and you don't want to change that opinion. Sometimes you can see someone who's very nice and very beautiful and very attractive and very sexy, and they get to be very nice and very kind. And you think that they're a very, very good person, but it's just a first impression, okay? And after a while, even though you see them that they're bad people, even though you see them that they do bad things to you, okay? You still think that they are, right? Example, well, if somebody sees their doctor, and the doctor is very nice and very kind and very helpful and treats you so nice, and you got a great impression about the doctor, and when the doctor messes up something about you, okay, you think it wasn't really the doctor's fault that he was a bad doctor, and you keep going to the doctor, and he keeps messing things up, and things get from bad to worse, but you still think that the doctor is a good doctor because of your first impression. You don't judge him based on what he did, you judge him on the first impression, how nice he was, and how kind he was, how sweet he was, and how nice he was talking to you before even the medical exam and medical stuff started, okay? So that's the halo effect. It's the first impression of others, and it's usually based on a single thing. If, and that's very common, if the doctor is very nice and very kind, people get to think that they're good doctors, as in good surgeons, okay, as in good pediatricians, okay? But that's often not true. Often not true. But people make this mistake all the time. Like they make the mistake of stereotyping, okay? Like the mistake of assumed similarity. So all of these are hardwired into us, and we suffer, and we have to live with it. And we have to be careful about with them, especially you being young and facing new and different cultures, including in the workplace. Let's see what's next. So that's about, so perception basically means that different people put on different glasses and see different things. And some see them blue, some see them yellow, and some see them pink or rose, okay? So they put on rose-colored glasses, and everything's rosy for them, okay? Or they put the dark glasses and everything's dark. So that's what perception is. Depends on how you see things. And number one, discuss theories about, notice here everyone, it's learning how you study, not earning. To earn means to make money. Learn is how you study, how you acquire skills. So, learning, let me get to the point of learning over here. And learning is about acquiring skills, getting skills that can make a permanent change in you. If you learn accounting, it's going to be helpful for the rest of your life, about your family affairs, about your business, about your job. Here's an example, actually getting back to perception. And I've seen it everywhere in Bulgaria and of course in the US, and I'm sure it's the same here, is when somebody buys a new house, everybody sees the nice, beautiful house, and the other people will think based on the house that you're successful. But nobody sees the big debt. Nobody sees that somebody borrowed 1 million baht to buy a house. Nobody sees that you're in financial trouble. Nobody sees that half the time or half the money you earn, you pay the bank. Nobody sees that for the next 20 years, you're going to be a slave to the bank, okay? And you're going to be a slave because you have the house, okay? That's the bias. Well, accounting helps about those things. Accounting will help you think correctly. When you have an asset, you got to see, is it based on a liability and debt? Or is it based on savings and equity? In other words, when you bought that nice, beautiful, let's say, iPad, did you buy it with saved money or you actually borrowed the money for it? Same thing with a motorcycle. You see someone with a new motorcycle, but what could be happening is they could have borrowed the money and paid the money every month, okay? And by having the motorcycle, they're in worse shape financially, okay? So all of this is about learning and how people learn and why learning is important and why, in this case I'm giving an example, accounting is important for you to understand so that you don't see the shiny motorcycle and the shiny car, but you ask the question. You know, my father always keeps saying, oh, they bought this house and they bought the car and they bought, and I ask him, Dad, don't tell me if they bought a house. Tell me, do they have a mortgage? He says, I don't know. I said, well, why don't you ask about the mortgage? He says, nobody's asking about the mortgage, okay? So, these are common mistakes try to avoid. In this case, it's learning and behavior. So, you have two major types or forms of learning that we study in business and work. It's number one, operant conditioning, and number two, social learning. And operant conditioning is basically behavior which is based on the consequences. Operant conditioning basically means if you study good, you're going to get a good grade and you're doing okay. If you're studying bad, you're going to get a bad grade, okay? You're going to fail and have to take the course again. So, operant conditioning is based on what's called reinforcement. Reinforcement means you reward good behavior and you punish bad behavior. So, if behavior is student studying and coming, they get a good grade. If they don't come to class, they get a bad grade. For the employee, it's going to be salary. If they work hard, if they do well, you want to give them a good salary. And if they're not working hard, not doing well, okay, you give them a bad or low salary. And you want to give high salary for good work and low salary for bad work. And that's how you encourage more of good work and discourage more of bad work. So, positive reinforcement, reinforcing, in other words, rewarding good stuff, really encourages people to do good things, good the way you think, okay? And same thing, punishing bad behavior, you really discourage them from doing it again and again. And that's the foundation. The foundation is reinforcement, and that's a feedback on a behavior. It could be positive or negative. And you want to get more of the positive, and you want to get less of the negative. And the other one is social learning theory, with which we pretty much finished the section and the chapter. And social learning is that people learn by observation. Example, a lot of waitresses in the world don't go to waitressing class. They don't study waitressing. They just see and observe how other waitresses work, and they pretty much do the same thing, okay? A lot of times, a lot of bartenders don't go to a special bartending school where they get to learn all the drinks and the science and the practice of bartending, okay? They just see what others do and you do the same thing. Similar about driving. Not everyone in the world goes to a driving course. A lot of times you just watch how others drive and you drive pretty much the same way. So social learning in a sense is you observe what others do and you try to do the same thing, and with your own direct experience. You try doing this, see if it works, you try doing that, see if it works, okay? So social learning is that we learn through observation and experience. Let's see what else we got here. Well, not much. Social learning theory. Basically, here you got a guy who's showing another guy how to do it, okay? So, part of social learning is what we call, and what's used in business, training, okay? Well, in a sense, some of those courses that you do with cooking and other things, they are also part of social learning. And you got a lot of stuff that's not very interesting, that's why they don't have many things. Last concept is shaping behavior. A lot of times employers want to shape certain behavior. For example, you want to shape behavior that employees should come and work on time, that they should be honest, okay, that they should be, whatever. So basically you want to shape their behavior in the way which is going to be good for the business, which is you want to shape a behavior to make them more productive, okay? And again, the basic way to shape the behavior is the positive feedback or the positive reinforcement and the negative feedback, which is the punishment. So that's how you fundamentally try to shape behavior, okay? So, for example, I'm learning that if I don't take attendance, most students don't come to class, okay? So, next semester I will learn to take attendance. And anyone who doesn't come 20% of the time immediately fail, okay? So, that's the one thing that I'm learning. The other thing which I have learned is that students don't come to class and students don't read the textbook. I've learned that. So now I have to make the change. And the change is I will not ask any more questions from PowerPoint. If it's on PowerPoint, it will not be on the exam. The exam will come only from things coming from the textbook and from the lecture, okay? So, all the students who try and study from PowerPoint will fail, okay? That's the objective. The objective is to fail those who study from PowerPoint, because I believe that PowerPoint is not enough to learn. Of course, learning from PowerPoint is a joke. It's a big, bad, giant joke. Of course, you don't think, do you think that you get education by learning from PowerPoint? You think that? Of course not. You gotta be playing stupid to think that. Of course you don't get it. The only way to get education is you come to class, okay? You read your book, you do your exercises, okay? I mean, that's how you get education. From PowerPoint, you don't get education. Well, I didn't know and I didn't expect that people will not buy the textbook. I didn't know that people don't read the textbook. Well, now I know. And now I'm changing my behavior, okay? And I will try to shape your behavior. And I'm developing what's called reputation. And the reputation is, oh, if you want to pass his exam, you got to read the book. The reputation is, you're going to tell the next guys that, oh, no, you cannot study from PowerPoint. If you study from PowerPoint, you're going to fail. Not good enough, okay? So, I am learning and I'm changing my behavior so as to shape your behavior. So, no reward for studying from PowerPoint. PowerPoint, no, those who study only from PowerPoint will be punishment. So, you got to study from the textbook or you have to come to class, okay? So, that's how I'm changing and that's how I'm learning and that's how I'm evolving and that's what I will expect from some of you. Of course, most people won't change, but that's their problem, okay? For the quiz 3 and the final exam, I'll make sure that the question is not on the PowerPoint. Maybe for next semester I don't use PowerPoint at all. PowerPoint makes students lazy, right? They don't want to study from the textbook. So that's how you do things. Again, if you want to change other people's behavior, well, my job here is to educate you, and my job is to do what I have to do to actually help you learn, okay, and improve your education. That's the goal. The goal is not just to give you goals, and I'll have to do what I have to do that. Now, you do what you decide is good for you, right? All right, it's good enough? So, that's about shaping behavior. And section 5, we pretty much skipped because section 5 is section 6 is contemporary issues, is only and specifically problems about America and about Generation Y. If we're in America, we're going to study in great detail. That's not relevant for you. That's not relevant for many Europeans. That's not relevant for most Asians, okay? Well, maybe it applies partially to Japan, but it's not a very important topic. So this section, 9.6, you don't have to prepare. Not on the exam, not required, okay? It's not relevant for Thailand in your business and economic conditions and your social conditions. All right? Good enough? All right, Tamara?